Hey guys, Scott with Scott's Low Budget Projects. We're making a little short video today. I just got this little motion tracking uh, pedestal mount thing today, which I thought is pretty cool. So figured I'd shoot a little video for you. No idea how long this is going to go. Depends on how long this thing lasts for. Behind me, we're going to talk about this 1952 Alice Chalmers WD that I purchased a while back. My nephew actually wanted me to do a video on it a while back, so I figured why not do one for you guys today. It's kind of dreary, rainy out, just got off work, so excuse the poor work attire, but I figured this would be a good way to showcase the little motion sensor camera pedestal mount thing I got, and said the tractor would be a good one. We'll see how much audio it captures. So basically behind me I got a 1952 Alice Chalmers WD tractor. It's hard to see here. Somebody put a WD-45 front on it. It is not a WD-45. This is actually 1952. 53 was the last year for the WDs, for those who aren't Alice Chalmers people. This is my first Alice Chalmers. I've never owned Alice Chalmers. I didn't grow up with them. I know people that own them, but this is my first experience with one. Bought this tractor. I'll walk you over here if you can see it. There's a... I'll bring you guys in closer. So this is an experimental thing I'm doing with this camera thing, so I apologize if the camera angles are strange. Anyway, I bought this little, I think it's like a 5-foot box scraper. It's essentially for doing the yard around here. I got a, I'll show you, pressure rock gravel driveway here, and it was poorly maintained. It's a rental property, so it is what it is. Anyway, this tractor here, bought it. I drove this thing all the way back to here from the guy's place I bought it from, and it made a about 15-mile trip. It is not a fast tractor. Top speed's about, according to the book, is 11 3/4 miles an hour in 4th gear. So the tractor is definitely no speed demon. I was thinking about taking it on a tractor drive at some point, but I don't think it's fast enough to go on it in its current condition. It doesn't run the greatest. It runs on roughly 3.5 cylinders when it's running. It's wore out, it's tired, but it's good enough for what I need around here. I'll fire it up for you guys here just to show you guys how she still pops off pretty good for the age of the tractor and whatnot. Make sure she's in neutral so don't run me over. Let's see how she fires up. Can off the exhaust so we don't have that going everywhere. Not bad. I haven't started this thing in quite a while, so it's actually, it's not a bad tractor. The gears are a little noisy in the rear end. Like I said, I'm not an Alice Chalmers expert. I just wanted a smaller tractor, and I'll show you one of the features why I bought this tractor particularly. Which actually it's probably easier to show you this way. Try not to get in the way of it, but right there. It has a, they call it a snap coupler. Alice Chalmers called it back in the day. I converted it to work with like essentially a 3-point. So that's what this is for. It's essentially a box scraper with star fires to dig into the dirt so you can, turn up the crushed rocks and stuff around here. But it works pretty good. Something I did on the back of it. Try to point out. We'll put the tractor down so on the back here. I put these links on here. These are from some sort of John Deere utility tractor. I don't know the model and stuff. I put a top link on it. My dad actually made this top link loop and essentially made it so you could use it like a 3-point, because originally the snap coupler only lifted from the from these two arms here. and then I lifted off of the center where the hitch would be. And I wanted to maintain the hitch because I do like to use this thing still, to pull things around. I did make these essentially a sway block out of some. It's basically, I think it's 1 3/4 square, 1/4 inch tubing, 90 two pieces of, I believe it's 1 3/4 angle iron, and then on the front underneath, I have it's a basically oh, you put it on a 3-point hitch so you can hook wagons and stuff up, or pull things behind a thing off of your 3-point arms. This is off the front underneath here. Actually, it is going to be hard. It's hard to explain it to you, but I'll bring it in here. See my face? It's always fun when you're using new equipment. You're trying to figure out if it's going to work with you or work against you. This one's, it does pretty good motion tracking, I'll give it that, but it's a little bit lacking on the point and shoot. Like, I want it to go this way, and it's like see how I pull my arm out that way? It doesn't go that way. So I have to essentially make it go to where it needs to go. But anyway, there's a hitch underneath here. It goes across like this. There's 2 pins on the end of it, and then I put 2 clip pins, and that's where the lower link arms connect to. And it goes across and it bolts to the actual hitch on the tractor. So it can all be removed. You can take it off, and if you want to go back to the old snap coupler stuff, which are these arms here, these two big arms that come off the back here, those are factory. Originally they have this it's kind of like a clamshell kind of snap, that's why they call it a snap coupler, because they lock into place. This tractor had it on there when I got it, but I took them off because I don't have any snap coupler attachments or anything like that. Like I said, it's not a bad little tractor. It's been converted to 12 volts already. It has I think it's a AC Delco or Delco Remy 12 volt GM style alternator on it. So it's been converted to 12 volts, and everything works on it. The lights work on it. Well, I guess the amp gauge doesn't work on it, but that's not that big a deal because, again, it's essentially a little yard tractor for me. And like I said, this is mainly just to test out the motion sense camera thing. I was kind of curious to see how it would work. I actually forgot that I got this. I got this through my scorecard reward points from my credit card. So, sometimes spending money, I guess you get some benefits out of it, I guess. And this just so happens to be one of them. Something else I wanted to show off here. A few of you guys have probably seen these around before. Carry over here so you can get a little bit better shot of it, if it follows me around too much. This here is a Country Clipper riding mower. I believe it's a 48-inch deck riding mower. I bought this a little while ago. It's been a pretty good mower. It uses a joystick controller instead of your typical tillers, like a lot of your more commercial grade mowers and like Grasshopper and Exmark and like those types of mowers use. Gonna dump the water off. It's been raining the last few days, so everything's kind of covered in water, but it's a pretty good mower. I bought it for here because I got a fairly good sized place to mow here. It's a nice feature. Said there's nobody holding the camera. This is just doing it on its own. But anyway, as you can see, I have all this property to mow here. Let's see if I show you the back side of the pickup. That's another more recent purchase. It's a 2000 Ford Ranger pickup. It's got a 3-liter and a V6. Nothing too special. The 95, which is parked over there, it's having some issues. I had to put I'm dumping basically head gasket sealer in it because I think the head gasket's starting to go out on it. It still runs good and everything. It's just the coolant's going down all the time and like it's going somewhere. The most recent thing I had issues with, and this has been going on for a while, it gets air in the clutch. And I replaced the clutch and slave cylinder on the transmission before. I never touched the master cylinder. My guess is something's going on with the master cylinder. It must be bypassing internally because the clutch fluid never goes low. So that's the next step on that. I have the parts to fix it. It's just a time thing, and I'd like to do it at work so I have a hoist. But anyway, we're talking about this Country Clipper mower. I'd show you some features on it. The one thing that's kind of nice about these country clipper mowers, which a lot of people don't know, this has a tilt deck on it like a grasshopper. So you can actually lift the deck up and it lifts it up and you can get to the blade. So that's the one thing nice. I didn't even know, I never heard of country clipper before. This was kind of a, just happened to be looking for a lawnmower. I wanted a zero turn for a while, but they were just so expensive. And I ended up selling the 2013 Dodge Challenger I had. So I had a little bit of money to do some stuff with. So I purchased a few things. The Ranger pickup just so happened to be one of them. There's a, let's follow you here, flatbed trailer back here. You see some, I don't know, there's some junk sitting on it right now. It's a bunch of engine parts and undesirable stuff that came from parts on this Ranger pickup here. This is the little Bohemian 302 swapped Ranger I've been messing with. It's currently got some engine issues I'm trying to sort out. That's going to be an ongoing project. I don't really film how-tos, so if you guys are wanting more in-depth stuff on this truck on how to fix stuff, I kind of learn as I go, so I prefer to kind of, I don't know, keep my privacy when it comes to figuring things out, because I'm not exactly a figure things out on the fly type of person. So this is also why I don't edit videos, and things can be going on for over an hour sometimes, which I know a lot of you guys complain about, and I'm sorry, but that's just not how I do videos. I just do it simple, point and shoot. You and me, it's like we're having a conversation. It's not you and me, hold on a second, I don't want to talk about this section of the conversation, so it just disappears. That's, to me, it's, I don't know. It doesn't feel as interactive, in my opinion. Yes, it can get a little long-winded and boring, which I'm sure some of you probably would gripe about, but it is what it is. I think it's easier to do it this way, so that's why I'm doing it this way. Plus, for me, I don't upload a lot of videos, so this is content for some of you that want something to just sit down and listen to in the background while you're doing something, or maybe find this stuff interesting. I know some of you guys think this stuff's boring, but anyway, like I said, shut off the tractor, you guys. I figured that was kind of a neat little one for you guys. I'm just going to carry you around. I'll show you the little Bohemian right now. It's going to be a little difficult to show again. You can kind of see the 302 in there. Like I said, the camera's going to be like, hey, you're over here. But anyway, yes, it's got a 302 from a, try this. It's got a 302 from a late 80s, early 90s F-150. I don't know a whole lot about it. Unfortunately, the first motor that I put into this was a roller cam engine that actually came out of that. I'll show it over here. That blue F-150, that's a 95 F-150 that had a roller cam 302 in it. It was having coolant issues, pushing coolant into the cylinders, and it was getting a lot of excessive pressure in the radiator, and obviously that's not good. So I ended up pulling the motor, and that's currently got an 86 F-150 motor, and also a non-roller engine, which is essentially the same setup as this. Both were Facebook Marketplace finds of unknown origin, other than they ran, which, you know, typical, I'm getting rid of my junk, here you go kind of stuff, which sometimes you luck out, sometimes you don't. So far, the one in that blue F-150 has been fine. I haven't had any real issues with it. This one, on the other hand, has developed some sort of misfire, and I'm wondering if it's an internal thing, like a push rod or something of that nature. When it's warmer, when it's warmer, it seems to get worse. It's kind of, I don't know, it's hard to say. Try to move you away from I got a radio playing in the shed there. Try not to get in trouble for copyright infringement, and I'm not trying to do that. It's just, the radio just so happens to be playing. The reason the radio is playing is because I got mice, and the mice actually don't really like the sound as much. It doesn't keep them away 100%, but it's good enough that it keeps them down enough in there, because that is an old shed, so mice and stuff get in there. But like I said, this pickup here, it's just the show truck. I don't really do anything else with it. I've never hauled anything other than tires and maybe a pallet in the bed, and that's about it. And I mean, a pallet isn't an empty pallet. I drove it to work one time and they had a pallet and I just threw it in the back. And by threw it, I mean just set it in there because it has a bed liner and stuff in it. But I'm trying to keep it nice because, like I said, the sole purpose of this truck was to take it to car shows and take it on car cruises. I really never had any intentions of making it a daily driver. Like I said, this is the reason why we got this. This is a World War II Hellcat tank battalion patch. My grandpa served in World War II as a tank driver, and I thought this was kind of a neat tribute. He was also Czech. The truck's called the Little Bohemian. So, if you're wondering what does this have to do with the Ranger pickup, it's a family thing in this case. Little Bohemian, Czech, Bohemia, that sort of thing. It all kind of ties together. So that's why that's what it is. But like I said, this is just a random video of just random stuff I'm just showing you. Like I said, it's a more of a walk around tour and really, like I said, highlighting the motion sensor camera thing, which is pretty good. The tripod I have is really short, unfortunately, so you're gonna be getting a lot of like midsection shots here, which is gonna be a little awkward for some of you. So my apologies, but I guess I'll show you the 95 Ranger, which is hiding back here. Last time I used it, I was pulling a trailer with a lawnmower. That I made a video a long time ago about a Murray riding mower that I have. I finally decided to go take it to a small engine guy who knows a little bit more about those things than I do, because I was having problems with it. It would like soft seize after it got warm, and it didn't want to restart. So I was like, I don't really know what's going on with this thing. I messed with it, tried adjusting valves and stuff. I'm like, I don't know what else to do. So, and then the brakes didn't work on it. And I was like, I said, I'm not a small engine guy. I don't really know a whole lot about that stuff. Never really grew up with it, didn't mess with them, never tore them apart. So it's just a thing I don't have a lot of experience with. So that's why I said I decided to give it to somebody who had a little bit more knowledge on it, which he's been doing that. He kind of does that as a hobby slash part-time job. I believe he's partially retired, so he just kind of just does it just because he can, I guess. Anyway, show you over here. 95 Ford Ranger pickup, the one with over 300,000 miles on it, allegedly. Currently, the odometer is saying 225, 26,000. The odometer quit at 220. I rolled the odometer up because the gear broke on the odometer. I fixed the odometer, and now it's working. I'll give you a walk around of that pickup so you can actually see what I'm talking about. So, again, my apologies for poor camera angles. It's just, we're dealing with what we're dealing with. So, here's the truck right here. It's actually a pretty good truck. I like it. I actually like it better than that 2000 Ranger that I have, albeit this one does have its share of issues being an older truck, but I think it runs pretty good for what it is. It makes good power versus the 3-liter that I just got. That has an automatic in it, and it is a gutless wonder. And I say gutless wonder because it is terrible. It is probably one of the slowest accelerating vehicles I have ever owned. I had what do you want to call it? Comparison, I had a 91 Chevy Cavalier VL, which is the base model. It was a cheapy old wore out car I bought from a buddy of mine. He was gonna junk it. And I bought this way back in high school when you could get cars for nothing. This was back in like 2006 era, so you could get a cheap car for, a couple $100. That was back in the heyday when cars were still a little fun, so you could actually do stuff with them and didn't have to spend $1,000 or $6,000 on that. That was rough. This was a $400 truck. The lady I bought it from was going to junk it because it was having some issues. The clutch was going out. She said it wouldn't go into 4-wheel drive. The clutch, yes, was kind of a pain. I ended up having to put a clutch in it almost immediately because it went out I went to go take it to supper one night and the clutch completely went out. It left me stranded. I had to get it towed home. But it is what it is. But anyway, the 4-wheel drive, if I had it fixed in 10 minutes, the motor got stuck because she hadn't used it in a long time. I took it out. Applied 12 volts to 2 of the wires, the motor shifted, and then it's been working ever since. So didn't have to replace anything there. So win-win. And I fixed a couple other Rangers like that. I have a thing for Rangers just because it seems like, I don't know, we get along for some reason, and I don't really know why that is. And I'm okay with that. Like I said, to me they're decent trucks. Some people hate them. You like what you like, but I've always had good luck with them, I guess, for the most part. This one's still got the twin I-beam front suspension on it. Like I said, it's a 4 liter. It's a push rod 4 liter, not the single overhead cam one. This is a 95, but it's a late 95, so it's an OBD2 truck. It definitely, if you open the hood on it, you can definitely see. I don't have the keys on me right now, but if you open the hood, you can definitely see it's got some miles on it. It's got, valve covers are leaking and all that wonderful stuff. It's got some rust. There's got rust going on down here. There's rust going on down here. There's no holes in anything yet, but it's all, the paint's starting to come off. One of the box corners, I believe, on the passenger side there, it's missing a little bit because it got rusty. But the truck's really, it's pretty darn straight. It's got some dents in it, just like any other old truck does. Bring it to the other side here. And I did a video on this truck when I first got it. But then again, like I said, I've been driving it. I drove this truck all the way to Omaha, which is a 2-hour drive and 0 issues. And other than the clutch acting a little funky when I about got to my friend's place, but other than that, you wouldn't know this thing has over 300,000 miles on it. The interior is a little worse for wear. The seats are kind of wore out, but I put seat covers on it, so you really can't see it. I fixed the headliner in it. I got the wrong colored headliner. We were able to dye it with some gray. We essentially spray painted it with primer, so it matches the interior of the truck. It's a little bit more gray than the rest of the truck on the interior, but it matches good enough with all the other different. The truck was heavily smoked in, so some of the interior has kind of an off color to it from cigarette smoke and stuff. It doesn't smell like cigarette smoke that much anymore, at least not to me. I mean, I smoke occasionally, so it's is what it is, and I'm just kind of like, whatever. It smells like every other 80s, 90s car I've ever owned, which, everybody used to smoke back in the day, so it didn't really bother me. It doesn't smell like an ashtray. When I first got it, it had a pretty heavy smoker smell to it, but I got some Ozone is a brand of stuff I use to clean out nasty interiors. It gets rid of mice smell as well as cigarette smell. Another thing I've used, which will reference Vice Grip Garage, Derek, he called it the Barrapupa car, and it had an awful smell, and the guy he was getting the car from gave him some stuff called bull snot, and I had never heard of it before. I looked it up, and apparently it's supposed to be some sort of deodorizing spray, and it does work. I will say this truck had a pretty rough smell to it. I sprayed it in the vents and stuff, and down underneath where you get that kind of musty smell. The other thing is, which I can show you here, the remnants of it anyway. See where my finger's pointing, you see remnants. It looks like it's tape. This had a slider back window in it originally, which it does again. This is a newer window. These never came with this type of slider window in them. This is one I found on eBay, which was made for this truck. It's a lot newer window, but anyway, this section here was busted out, and they had a very heavy piece of like plastic essentially over it, but it was starting to leak and there was getting stuff in there, so you had that kind of mildewy, moldy smell in the truck. So blasted it with that bull snot stuff, and so far it's been pretty good. I'm not saying it's perfect. You get a little bit of a whiff of mice and stuff in there, but this truck also sits outside all the time. Like I said, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that's around. See that building? It's like ready to fall down. Another example. Old building about ready to fall down. It's an old farmyard that I rent. That's probably the best building on the property because I put that one up. That's a carport I put up. I bought it specifically to put that little Bohemian in. That's the whole reason that carport exists, and that was my Trump money, as I like to joke about. And then of course it houses this Sam Gabriel SG400 I bought. It's a cafe racer style. It's a 400-ish cc. They round up, of course. Chinese motorcycles made by the company called Zhongsheng. They rebranded it as a CSC SG400 here for the U.S. market, or RE3S SG400. It's got a really long name, but it's a SG400 for short. I call it an SG400 because San Gabriel 400 that's what SG means. So anyway, neat little bike. I haven't ridden in a while. Try not to knock you guys over, but it's weird carrying around a stand. Come here, little buddy. Anyway, over here you'll see me. I got assorted things over here. Might have to bring you in closer so you can see a little better. Let's set you in the carport. Come here. Oh, did it die? Well, that's what happens. There it goes. It was taking a nap, apparently. This is a 2.3 that originally came out of that little Bohemian 88 Ford Ranger pickup. I say originally, but it originally had a 2-liter. This was the one that was in it when I pulled it out to put a V8 in it. The 2.3, this came out of a 83 Ford Mustang. Was a good running engine. I put a different cam in it, a towing cam they called it, and woke it up a little bit. It revved to about, they said 5,500 RPMs, and yeah, I would go up there, but I didn't do it too often. But the truck was slow. That's the reason I pulled the motor and stuck the 302 in it. That definitely woke it up. I just decided that was the route I wanted to go with it. Right or wrong, some of the purists out there. So, well, you kind of ruined it. They never had a 302 from the factory. Or everybody puts 302s in Rangers. I've never done it, and I honestly haven't seen them. But I also live in a kind of a rural area, so it might be common where you are, but I've never seen another one around this area. So, kind of cool in my opinion, but maybe not so cool to you. But it's not a race truck or anything like that. It's a themed truck. My brother and his wife have pulling trucks that are painted that color. And at the time when I was building this truck, I asked if I could paint it that color, and they said, yeah, go ahead. So I did, and that's why it's that color. So there's really not a whole lot of deeper meaning other than we'll call it a family thing. So far I'm kind of liking this little thing. Like I said, I wish my stand was taller, but it was like the cheapest one you could buy on eBay at the time, and I don't even know if this thing's I don't even think it's 4 foot tall, this little stand thing. But and I'm 6 foot tall, so sorry if you're getting a lot of my gut shots and stuff like that, which I'm sure some of you guys are like, I really don't want to see that. Which, sorry, but that's just the reality of things. I'm not a skinny guy. I like my beer and I like my fast foods, so that's just all there is to it. So anyway, guys, I just want to show you a little bit of stuff. I'll give you a little quick walk around on this 2000 Ranger since we're out here looking at things. This is a 2000 Ford Ranger I picked up, I'm trying to remember, 2 months ago, something like that. It wasn't exactly the best purchase I ever made in my life, I'm going to be honest with you. This truck I paid $6,000 for because a local guy was driving it and decided it was a family member of his was trying to get him to buy the truck. Well, he decided he didn't want it. Well, the family member didn't know what to do with the truck, so I talked to the guy's grandpa about it, and he said, yeah, go talk to my grandson or family. I don't know exactly who was selling it, but they said, yeah, go talk to him. So I got a hold of him and ended up buying the truck. A little bit of a regrettable purchase. Mainly, like I said, it had some problems with it, which he didn't disclose when I bought the truck, so I was a little pissed off about it, to be frank. And especially for $6,000, this truck should have been pretty darn flawless. I mean, you can look, just by looking at it, you can tell it's not perfect. You got a bunch of sun fade on the window, the tint's peeling on this back glass here, passenger side window tint's peeling, bottom of the fender's rotted out down here on the front. Basically down at the bottom there, it's got rust in it. It's all bubbled up real bad. The tailgate's all banged up, like somebody slammed the tailgate into the side of the box. This is a fiberglass step side, which I kind of like. You don't have to worry about rust with them, but I've never actually owned one that had a step side there. I've always been flare sides or whatever, the flat sides. I don't know what the technical name is. Ford calls it something different every year, it seems like. But I've never had a step side pickup, although I don't know how much of it. I don't think I'd really want to step on that being fiberglass or plastic. Or whatever it's made out of. But anyway, yeah, if you know anybody looking for some running boards off of a 2000 Ford Ranger, these are OEM style Ford running boards. And yeah, they're for sale currently on Facebook Marketplace, $200. So trying to get rid of them. I don't want them. I'm not a running board guy. I don't really like running boards. I'm 6 foot tall, and all they do is bust my shins up when I get in and out of the truck. So they came off almost immediately because I just don't like running boards. Some people like them. I just they're not my thing. I like chrome stuff. It's not that I don't like chrome. It's just the running boards are just not a thing for me. I like bed rails. Don't have bed rails on anything, but that'd be something. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, 3-liter truck, automatic transmission. The other thing is, yeah, center console was completely busted out on it. Like somebody freaking arm elbowed the freaking center console and just shattered the thing. I took a piece of 3/4 inch plywood, ripped the upholstery off, put the upholstery on the 3/4 inch plywood and put it back together like that. A little bit of a process, but I figured it out and it's working. Like I said, wasn't overly fond of it. Anyway, when I first bought the truck, the brake fluid was low and the red brake light was on. I asked the guy, and he said, yeah, that red brake light's on, but I don't know why. Well, I found out later, I'm like, it's leaking brake fluid. I'm like, you didn't see that? Anyway, the driver's rear wheel cylinder was leaking leaking brake fluid all over the place. While I pulled it apart, the shoes were just completely gone. Springs were busted on it. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? I was just like, this is ridiculous. I'm like, I paid $6,000 for this truck. Like, there's no way that was worth $6,000. And the sad part is these trucks sell all day long on Facebook Marketplace, $4,500 or less. Now, granted, this one isn't as bad as some of those are. This truck's got 143,000 miles on it. There's one currently on there for $4,500. Same looking truck for I think he's asking $4,500 for it, maybe 46, but still. Much cheaper than this thing. Basically the same setup, 3-liter automatic transmission, 4-wheel drive. But for crying out loud, I'm like, how was this $6,000? I was just like, and yes, you can say, well, that's your own dumb fault for buying it. There's a little bit of extenuating circumstances there because, and I'm not trying to throw my dad under the bus here. He meant well, but he was a little impatient when we were looking at it. And he's the one that gave me a ride there, so thanks for doing that. I appreciate that, Dad. But next time when we go to look at a vehicle, stick around until I decide I actually want to buy it. He essentially left me there, and I had no choice to take the truck home. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm driving it home. And it has a check engine light on now, which he was honest about. He said that the check engine light was coming on and that it's an O2 sensor, and he is right. I checked it. I said, I'm a mechanic. I was able to look at it, and yes, it's an O2 sensor. It's slow response O2 sensor, I believe Bank 2 O2 sensor. So nothing major there. And the 3 liters, as hard as the time as I give to these trucks about being a complete dog, they're a good engine, but they are gutless. That is just the big, what do you want to call it? Hard sell for a 3-liter. The 4-liter, like in that 95, is just a much better motor. It just is. And then of course 5-liter is, if you could upgrade to it. That's why a lot of people take 3-liter trucks and upgrade them to 5-liters. I know why they do, because these are gutless turds in comparison. That 2.3 that used to be in that 88 Ranger, if you were to go off a line, keep in mind that Ranger was a manual, but a 5-speed manual. It came out of an 83 Ford Mustang. Mild cam, as a towing cam. It's not some race engine or anything like that. It's got a dual Weber Holley carburetor on that engine, which came in like a Ford Pinto or a Mustang or Mercury Bobcat at the time. Anyway, stock stuff for that era. It wasn't like some special trick package, and it was a lot of mismatched parts put on this engine. Anyway, off the line, that 88 Ranger, albeit it is a short box, regular cab, it would be a car length in a quarter mile. Now this one will catch up to it after a quarter mile. It's just very slow getting up to 60. So, I hate to rag on the truck too much. I'm sure it's going to be a good truck for me. It's just not quite what I wanted when I bought it. I was hoping it'll be a little better, but at the time, I wanted something a little bit more reliable. 95, as much as I like it, it's got high miles on it, and I don't 100% trust it anymore. I could probably make it reliable, but I really don't want to rebuild a motor when it's got 300,000 miles on it. Maybe some people would, but the problem with that truck is it's never been touched, and it is quite rusty underneath the hood. I have a feeling I'd be breaking a lot of like manifold bolts and intake bolts, and when I went to go take the transmission off to do the clutch on that 95, The bell housing bolts came out fine. However, the exhaust manifold downpipe bolts had been cut, drilled, bolts shoved in there. The bolts that were shoved in there were rusted out. It was a nightmare getting those out. I had to cut the bolts. There was no room. I couldn't get the bolts out. Tried to put new bolts in it. Had a hard time getting them in there. I had a hard time putting a wrench on it to hold the bolt. It was just a big ordeal, and I was just like, I was glad to be done with it once I got the clutch put in that truck. But it has since been a pretty darn good truck to me. I really don't owe me a whole lot. Like I said, I paid $400 for the truck. I roughly have about $1,800 into it, which I know sounds like a lot, but I put tires on it, a clutch, a slave cylinder, the I guess you want to call it the pickup for the distributor, which it's not a distributor anymore. It's like that dummy shaft. There's a camshaft sensor on there. Well, anyway, that's that all that little stuff adds up. Redid the interior, like I said. I think I include seat covers. Did the whole headliner. Back window was $300. So it added up pretty quick. Like I said, the basic stuff like that. I did both front brake calipers, both hoses on it. Trying to think of all the little I fixed a bunch of stuff on the doors, put window motors in it, just stuff that old trucks need, and still got the original. Well, I say original. It still has an old, I think it's a Super Tuner 2, Pioneer Super Tuner 2 in it, and it still works. Its CD player still works, which, I mean, it's probably from like the mid 2000s, like 2010 maybe, somewhere in there. But anyway, it's an old radio, and a lot of times the CD players quit on them. It's not even fancy enough to have an auxiliary port on it. So at least I don't think it does. It doesn't have Bluetooth. I know that it's old enough it doesn't have Bluetooth. But like I said, this Ranger here, this has a cassette CD player in it, which 90% of the time when I'm driving vehicles anymore, I just listen to the radio. Maybe that makes me sound old. I do have Bluetooth in that 88 Ranger, the little Bohemian, and then in that 95 F-150 that had a Kenwood head unit already in it when I bought it, and that's got Bluetooth. So, but I don't really use it that often. I just listen to the radio, so it is what it is. I don't go on long trips or anything with these vehicles, so I don't really need music that often. I mean, I have Bluetooth stuff in the house if I want. If I want to listen to Bluetooth, I can do it in there. So it's not like I'll die if I don't have Bluetooth. And I don't do the whole hands-free calling thing either because, I don't know, I'm not a guy that's got to be on my phone all the time. So if somebody calls me, I'll call them when I get out of the truck later. Or if somebody texts me, I'll text them back later. My phone doesn't rule my life. We'll just put it that way. For at least when I'm driving. I mean, I'll admit I'm on my phone quite a bit when I'm not driving, but anyway, like I said, making a video here, trying to test out this little motion sensor camera thing. I like it. I think it works pretty good. It is a little annoying if you're trying to do like up close shots, like trying to zoom in on a motor or something like that. It doesn't work super great. That's when that person comes in handy. I'm by myself. I film all this stuff myself, so I don't have an extra set of hands. Nobody else lives here. It's just me. So when I do a video, it can be a little rough for me to get good shots. People are like, oh, it looks so unprofessional. And I'm doing this on a cell phone, guys. I don't know what else to tell you. It's an Android. It's a Motorola. I don't even remember what model it is. It's the one phone that you can do a dual and rear facing camera at the same time when you use an app, which is kind of neat. I think I showed that on one of my other videos that you can do them both at the same time. So I could do the front camera and the camera I'm using right now, which is the like where your touchscreen is. I'm using that camera. That way I can actually see what I'm filming. Otherwise, the other camera is kind of hard. That's why a lot of people use handhelds, and they have that viewfinder that you can flip around so you can see what's going on. The other camera is probably better. But like I said, I'm like I said, one person, so I need to be able to see what I'm filming. So that's why I do things this way. And sometimes this camera gets wonky on this thing. It gets orientation screwed up, and I don't know why. So I do run into issues with, like right now it's sitting sideways. It thinks it's like this, and I don't know why it does that. Sometimes I have to do some editing as far as like, what do you want to call it? Screen orientation when I go to finalize a video or something, but that's the extent of my editing. And then sometimes at one point I was putting previous video and new video, or look at this video, look at that video on them. I don't really do that anymore because, again, my stuff's kind of all over the place. I don't mainly focus on car content. Last video, the last non-music video, because I've been doing a lot of AI music stuff just for fun. And like I said, not your thing, don't worry about it. I do a little bit of everything. Here goes a side-by-side driving by on the gravel road by my house. Anyway, the last real video I did was of the mini arcade bar that I'm setting up. It's essentially about a mini bar off of eBay, and I got some bar stools, and I built an arcade cabinet, which that's kind of neat. That's, got a crap ton of games on it. It's got Hori joystick controllers and Xbox One or Xbox 360 regular controllers, so you can play platform or console games. Because the joystick joystick controllers don't work for all the games that are on the system, so I had to come up with another way to play the other games. So now it has 4 controllers instead of 2, which ideally I wish I could have just had the joystick controllers, hence the arcade. Now it's more like a console, so now you have like actual, D-pad, whatever you want to no Xbox controllers, which they're fine. There's nothing wrong with them, but I don't know. It wasn't my first choice, but is what it is. Anyway, instead of me just yapping on and on and on about all the random stuff I'm doing, we're going to cut this video off here. Thank you guys for watching. Sorry if this one was random. Like I said, a lot of my videos, that's what they are. And I do ramble. I probably repeated myself 5 or 6 times in this video, maybe more. But again, just making content just to make content. It's point and shoot. I wanted to try this camera thing out. So a random video, maybe not everybody's thing, but I figured why not try it. So anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Message out in the comments if you want to see more of any of the things I've been showing you around, or want to see something else that maybe you're interested in, or no, I've talked about it and where's that, or why haven't you talked about that? Like I said, message me down in the comments. I'll get back to you. I'm normally really good about responding back to comments. If you don't have anything nice to say, come on, keep it to yourself. Like, this isn't, I get it. The stuff isn't everybody's cup of tea, but it is what it is. Like I said, I don't make money off of this stuff. This is just for fun. I'm just doing this just to do it. Like I said, I have a full-time job. This is after work right now, and just doing this just because I wanted to try this thing out for you guys, and more for myself, so it's a little bit easier for me to film videos, and it's not so you don't get all that jitteriness when I'm over caffeinated or just got the shakes just because I got the shakes from something. And sometimes stuff gets a little jittery just because how I'm holding a camera, or you get really bad shots, which unfortunately that did happen in this video, so my apologies. I know some of you guys like it when things are a little bit more smooth, but I don't have a dedicated camera guy. I am the camera guy. I am the filming guy. I'm the sound guy. I'm the working guy. I'm the editing guy, which there's no editing. The only editing that happens is when I stop talking. So when I flub a line or say something wrong or have a derp moment where I don't know what, I lost my train of thought, you're seeing it real time. There's no edits, there's no cuts, there's none of that. So it is what it is. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. See you guys on the next one.